the complete herbalism guide for Midnight. I've spent months testing herbalism on the Midnight beta, so I could bring you a proper guide, not just theory crafting. In this video, I'll cover the best ways to get knowledge fast, the specs you should run to maximize your gold per hour, and a bunch of min-maxing tips you won't see in most guides. We also have some basic early routes to get you started to talk about as well. Basics first then. In Midnight, there are 6 different herbs available. Tranquility Bloom is the common herb, Nocturnal Lotus is the rare herb, and then we have 4 uncommon herbs: Argent Leaf, Mana Lily, Sanguiform, and Azure Root. Now, just like with mining, every herb comes in multiple node types. You have the regular version, a lush variant that gives higher yields, and then we have 4 elemental infused versions. And this is where things get interesting because they are mostly tied to the 4 zones. So light fused herbs are mostly found in Eversong woods, wild herbs are found in Zul'Aman, primal herbs are found in Harandar, and void-bound herbs are most commonly found throughout Voidstorm. Now we have elemental moats this expansion, and these elemental nodes will give you moats when you gather them. But something else will happen as well. So if you gather a light fused herb, it spawns a lot of swirlies that damage you, but soaking them gives you moats of light. We also have the ability to overload elemental herbs as well on a 12-hour cooldown, with cooldown reduction when we gather. You're seeing an overload spec knowledge herbalist here do this. When we overload a light fused herb, we get millions of swirlies, and yes, you can kill yourself if you're not paying attention. Wild herbs are different. When you gather them, they spawn mobs. If you kill those mobs, you can herb their bodies and moats of the wild. And if you overload a wild herb, you get an elite spawn that if you kill it gives you a 150 perception buff for 5 or 10 minutes depending on your knowledge. Primal herbs, these will give you a debuff when you gather them, but it doesn't last long. Overloading these starts a channel that damages you while you harvest, but you get loads and moats of primal energy in return. And then we have void-bound herbs. These create a vortex that pulls you in, and they give you moats of pure void. If you overload them, you also get void orbs you can harvest for even more moats, and then you get a portal that teleports you to a random location in Midnight with the option to return afterwards. Seeds are a thing in this expansion. You're getting these as random drops from herbs, and then you need to find rich soil to plant them in and get the herbs that spawn. Kind of find these annoying as they dismount you when you plant them, which slows you down. If you're ever needing to get rid of a lot of seeds, this area that you can see me in seems to have a high density of rich soils. I'm wondering if seed parties are potentially going to be a thing this expansion. So that's the basic outline for herbalism in Midnight. Let's talk about knowledge now. Knowledge is going to massively boost your gold per hour, so you need to be grabbing all possible knowledge before doing any serious farming. The first time you gather each herb, you get a knowledge point. The first time you gather each herb variant, you get a knowledge point. So for each herb, you have a regular, lush, light fused, wild, primal, and void-bound version. That is 6 different knowledge points per herb, and with 5 herbs, that's up to 30 knowledge points just from first-time gatherers. If you stay in one zone, you will miss most of those early on, therefore you have less knowledge and earn less gold per hour. So I genuinely think the best thing you can do before you start serious farming is rotating zones. Start in Eversong Woods and stay there until you've collected the light fused versions of everything. That's the light fused Tranquility Bloom, light fused Mana Lily, light fused Azure Root, light fused Sanguiform, and light fused Argent Leaf. Then you're going to move on to Zul'Aman and do the same with the wild herbs. And then once that's done, you're going to move on to Harandar and do it with the primal herbs. And then finally, you're going to go to Voidstorm and do it with all the void-bound herbs. And then that's going to get you those 30 knowledge points to get you started. Before you do any serious farming, you should grab your Herbalism Profession Treasures. Together they give you a huge 24 knowledge points and they are fast and free. So here are the locations. We're starting in Silvermoon with a simple leaf Pruners at the Flower Vendor, $48.99, $75.73 in Silvermoon. Then we are flying east outside of the city into Eversong to grab A Spade at 64.19, 30.41. Zul'Aman, 41.88, 45.96, and we have the Harvester's Sickle. Now we go to Harandar, 76.06, 51.10, and we're going to collect the Harvester's Sickle again. Okay, so that's the same Profession Treasure. 2 weeks from launch and we still have this book where the same Profession Treasure spawns twice and you can only collect it once. The missing treasure is called the Sweeping Harvester's Scythe, very similar name. Likely this is the right location, just the wrong profession treasure here. As soon as this bug is sorted, I will confirm it and change it in the waypoints in the description below. So we want the planting shovel at 51.23, 55.65 in the den, so that's the main town hub in Harandar. Bloomed bud is at 38.17, 66.97 in the southwest of Harandar, in the area that completely kills my GPU every time I go anywhere near it. Lightbloom Root is at 36.6, 25.08 in the far northwestern part of Harandar. That's 4 Herbalism treasures just in this zone. And finally we grab Peculiar Lotus from 34.65, 57.0 in central Voidstorm near the ingress. Like I said, don't worry too much about remembering these locations. You can copy and paste them out of the description below. Now, like in previous expansions, we have a weekly quest to hand in with your Herbalism trainer. It's just a quick and easy free knowledge points. Just remember to do it every week. And like in previous expansions, you can gather weekly drops just from doing your Herbalism. You can obtain 5 rare drops per week, which give 1 knowledge point each. And then you can have an epic weekly drop. That's the Thalassian Phoenix Tail, which gives you 4 knowledge points. Your profession interface shows you how many of these you have left for the week, so just make sure you grab all of them every week. If you fall behind on knowledge, you can also start receiving catch-up knowledge drops. These only begin dropping after you've completed your weekly handing quest and looted your epic weekly drop for the week. But remember, you have to be behind on your profession to be eligible for these to drop. The Dark Moon Fair is another free, fast and easy knowledge points. It is active during the week that Midnight launches. It's extremely easy to forget about it in the expansion hype, so don't miss out on those free knowledge points. Also, don't forget to use your treaties every week from an inscription crafter as well. It is only 1 knowledge point, but it does add up. There are also knowledge books that give 10 points, but these do require Moxie. You can get 1 from the Renown vendor at Harandar at Renown 6. And the second one is from the Abundance event. To unlock this, go to Chell the Chop in the main hub area in Zul'Aman, 45.0, 67.6. Give you a quest that sends you to the northwest part of the zone to get started. It's basically just going to run you through the intro to the Abundance event. Once you've done that, it'll give you the weekly quest and give you 2 free shards of Dun which let you jump straight into the main event. You need to go to whichever zone is currently active with the Abundance event. So it'll be one of the 4 zones, and you just need to basically just run the Abundance event. So run in, kill stuff, collect stuff, hand stuff into the altars, and this is going to give you the currency that you need to be able to buy the 10 knowledge book, but you still will need Moxie as well as that currency. Now we need to talk about the basic Herbalism build. Everyone should put 40 points into bountiful harvests to get started. You get loads of skill here to make it so you get more rank 2 herbs, but most importantly you get to increase your minimum and maximum yields from gathering herbs. This is a huge output increase. Priority is to get that done first, but the next 240 knowledge points is a bit more in flux. If for some reason you're not a druid and the Sky Golem is still not fixed by the time the expansion releases, then 40 points into botany gives you Herbalism while mounted, which is huge, and it also gives you a huge finesse bonus, which is more output. Even if you don't need the herbing while mounted, this finesse bonus is nice. Now if you want to farm more lotuses, you could just push for maxing out individual herbs, 40 points. The last node in each of these will increase Nocturnal Lotus drop rate from that particular herb. You will also get a lot of skill and other stats with that herb too. So just go through and max these out one at a time. Another option is you could just put 20 points into each herb. This unlocks your finesse has a chance to yield additional of this herb. Basically this is an output increase, especially if you're running a finesse build, which you probably should be. If you concentrated on doing this first, sort of like putting 20 points in each herb, then obviously you're going to get more finesse bonuses and hopefully you're stacking finesse anyway. So that is another option way of doing this. I think as long as you put those first 40 points into bountiful harvests, as the output increase is huge, that's the most important thing. If you need mounted gathering, grab botany as soon as possible as well. Even if you don't, it's still not a bad choice for the huge amounts of finesse. And all the individual herbs, as long as you max these options we talked about first, then the order is probably not going to make that much difference in reality. Now there is an overload spec that you can run as well, where we prioritize moat farming, but I'm not going to talk about that here as it's much more specialized. I have moat farming videos coming, and if you want to consider doing that spec, then you should check out those videos directly. But for most people, for the vast majority of farmers, I would suggest the build that we've done here. Now profession gear wise, we have epic profession tools added this expansion. You can get uncommon, rare and epic. Obviously you want epic as soon as possible. Your accessories are fixed, but we can choose stats on the main tool using missives and enchants. I like deafness because it makes gathering feel fast, and I'm willing to do more farming if it feels good. But I think finesse is the best, if that makes sense, and you can get good deafness just using buffs. Finesse is just a safe choice for most players because more herbs is always good, and that's why I always suggest it. And the knowledge tree is basically telling you to take finesse anyway, with those bonuses that you're getting in each individual herb. Perception is more niche. I've had some crazy high perception in the Midnight Beta. I've got a separate video coming on that. If Nocturnal Lotus ends up being crazy expensive early on, then stacking Perception could be worth it, but we'll have to see what the market looks like. Probably not expensive enough that it's worth sacrificing the extra herbs you get from finesse for. So mining and herbalism ratios then, which is best? Tauren gives +5 herbalism skill and deafness. High Mountain Tauren gives +5 mining skill and deafness. Drakfir gives us some perception. Earthen gives us more finesse. Harandar gives bonus to herbalism and finesse. And Night Elves have Shadow Meld, which can be helpful for dropping combat. I've heard arguments for all of these. Honestly, just pick whatever you want. None of these are significantly better than the others. Consumable wise, we have Darkmoon Firewater for a big buff to deafness. We have teas introduced in Midnight. These all give us speed bonus, finesse for Argent Leaf Tea, perception with Sanguiform Tea, or deafness with Azerroot Tea. We also have files of finesse or perception as well. And of course we have buff stones again as well, so Refungent, Razor Stone. All of these are going to help to increase your gold per hour. Now just remember that it can sometimes help your gold per hour if you farm in war mode and on low population role-playing servers as they phase differently. I promise you some farming routes. Well, over on the Discord I have written this guide and many other profession gold making guides just free to everyone, and we also have basic gathering routes each of the zones in Midnight as well. That's free, just go over there, copy and paste and use them yourself. If this video was helpful then please leave it a like